Today is Wednesday, July 12th. This is the Post Up, where we discuss all the top stories in sports, both on and off the field. I'm joined by Dexter Henry. And wait a second, Dex, is that someone we got? Is that Jenna Lemoncelli, our New York Post
Yes.
sports entertainment reporter? Jenna, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys? I'm so excited to be on the Post Up. You guys are doing an amazing job. I watch it all the time, and I'm so happy to be here.
Glad to have you, Jenna, my good friend. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here as always.
Listen, if you guys aren't reading Jenna's stuff already on the Post, you should be. She reports on all the sports entertainment. It's great. It's a lot of good content there. Jenna's always fresh on these topics. So let's get into some of these things. And the first thing I want to talk about is it was officially announced today that the New York Jets are going to be on Hard Knocks here on HBO and NFL Films. So we always knew this news was coming, Dex. We talked about this earlier on a Post Up episode. It's official now. So I got to ask both of you, what is the thing you're most looking forward to now that this has become official with the Jets on Hard Knocks?
What crazy stuff is Aaron Rodgers going to say on Hard Knocks? That's it for me. What crazy stuff is he going to say? That's what I want to see. But I mean, and I say that jokingly, right? And I also intrigued to see, I think from a team standpoint is, we know that some of the players didn't want this, the coaching staff didn't want the Jets didn't want this at all. They were concerned about this becoming a distraction. How do they manage this now? How do they manage this, especially with them starting training camp a week earlier? How does all this go down? I'm really intrigued to see how Robert Saleh manages this. I think there's enough veterans on his team that this won't be a distraction. But some people like the limelight. There's a lot of eyes on the Jets this year, period, anyway. And Aaron Rodgers specifically. So, when he's never had this kind of media coverage before because he was in Green Bay. Now he's in New York, and now he has Hard Knocks. This is a whole nother level. So I'm really intrigued to see how he handles it personally. Like, I really actually am intrigued to see that.
I'm intrigued to see, and this is going to be the entertainment journalist in me, but I'm excited to see the Aaron Rodgers 2.0 that we're seeing. How we've seen him out at concerts, he's on red carpets, we're seeing a completely different man. So now I want to see how it really is behind the scenes. Again, we're going to see the Aaron Rodgers locked in, this and that. But one thing, I want to see his attitude and his demeanor in this New York mecca of a beast that is media, everything. I want to see how he handles it and how he takes on this team. And I also want to see that dynamic between him and Zach Wilson, because I'm not saying that I don't buy it, but like, I want to know what's really going on here. And again, I'm not fishing for drama. They could be BFFs for life. That's great. But, I want to see how that dynamic is because, and again, like you said, Dex, how the Jets are going to handle this. I mean, talk about going from like, I don't know, like a complete 180. Now you have to watch all your P's and Q's and everything. And to see how they handle this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah,
That
you
is
bring
going
up
to
a
be.
great point there, Jenna, especially when you're talking about how the interaction is going to be between Zach and Aaron. I'm also looking forward to seeing the off the field stuff with Zach and Aaron, because there is an off the field lifestyle that is exposed in New York more than it was in Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. We've always had, I feel like everything we've covered about his love life, his love interest has always been interesting with Aaron Rodgers. We all know how detailed and documented that's been. And the part of Hard Knocks that's going to be different now for the Jets now that's going to happen is there's going to be the access a little bit of the cameras going into, all right, how's Aaron Rodgers? What's his, is he staying in a condo? Did he buy a house? How's that lifestyle going? Also with Zach Wilson, like how's it now being former number 2 overall pick? Now you're a backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers. So there's those interesting parts where how much access are the Jets going to give Hard Knocks and NFL Films to be able to film what their personal lifestyle is going to be, especially here in New York, New Jersey area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And like
can't wait. I can't wait for this. Sorry, go ahead, Jenna. Yeah.
No, you're good. I was just going to say Hard Knocks is the reality TV of the NFL. So I will be disappointed if they don't give access. And the way Aaron's been playing up this entire New York persona, I will be so sad if I don't at least see like a glimpse of his condo or him saying something about his favorite restaurant or whatever it may be. But we need to see something. We need to see the behind the scenes because they've been teasing this. Like, it's only right that the Jets are on Hard Knocks.
No, listen. Ryan doesn't want to see this as a Jet fan, and he said this before, and I get it. I understand exactly where he's coming from on this, but I also think, Jenny, you brought up something good. I do want to know more about how Zach Wilson feels. I do want to sit down with Zach Wilson. Now, I don't think Zach Wilson's going to, if you give him the truth serum, is he really going to say how he feels about these things? I'm not necessarily sure, but it can feel great. You went from being the toast, you're supposed to lead this team with this great defense. Now you got to sit behind. Now, Zach Wilson has to be smart and play this all right. He's got to be smart about this. I'm here. I'm happy to learn. I know that's not what we want to hear, but you know what? I wouldn't mind a little drama with Zach Wilson. But Ryan, you see Ryan's face right there? Ryan wants no drama, no more drama with the Jets.
No, you want to know why?
Ryan
Because
wants.
Jenna's going to write an article about it, and then it's going to trend for a long time. And then I'm going to be like, this is exactly what I didn't want for the New York Jets. I just want to focus on football and winning games for the first time in over a decade and make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand. Go ahead, Jenna.
So here's
I
gonna be the
see.
problem. I'm gonna predict it for you guys now. Is this gonna be incredible? Hard Knocks, great TV? Yes. Is it gonna stir media rumor, speculation that, oh, there's trouble in the locker room, or this is a distraction? Of course, we're gonna get all of that. We're gonna get all the reports, all the rumors, and that's sorry, my brother's FaceTiming me.
I thought it was. I thought it was Aaron Rodgers. That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah,
It
it's
might have
Aaron
been.
Right?
Rodgers. He already
Yeah,
knows it
him
coming
calling me
for
to
him.
give me the scoop. But the thing is, we're gonna get all of that, and it's gonna be a real testament to see how this team handles it because, again, I mean, it's New York. It is what it is. But I will say, I will be happy to see a transparent side of Zach Wilson
Mm.
where even if we get a little bit of like, listen, did that hurt? Did that suck? Yeah, it was so embarrassing. I went through such a time, like, and now to see all of this, like, I want to see him open up like that, and not in a bad way. Like, be real. Be like, listen,
Yeah.
this is wild. Like, it's Aaron Rodgers. I'm happy to learn from him. Love him.
Right.
Idol. But like, damn, was that a punch to the ego? I want to hear him say it. I want to hear him admit it, and that's not bad. But like, be real. Like,
Yeah, I mean, real quick, just to wrap all this up, do we expect New York Post favorite Lisa Wilson to make an appearance on Hard Knocks?
We can only hope so. I mean, I'm still blocked on Instagram. And all I want to say is like, I'm sorry, Lisa. I don't know what I did. Listen, all respect to all mothers, of course, and parents out there, especially if NFL players. I just don't know why I'm blocked. Guys, when we get off camera, when we have more time, I'll explain you the story of how I found out.
Oh, I want to hear this.
I
Hey,
know. I
hey,
kind of want to
Lisa.
hear this right
Hey,
now.
Lisa.
We should make you tell this one.
Teaser. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but like I was, doing research, doing a story one day, and my editor was like, "Yeah, here, like, go like check Lisa's Instagram." I was like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "Oh, she deleted it. She doesn't have one." And he was like, "Nah, she has one. Like, you don't have access to it." And it was in like the whole like sports chat, everything. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
We'll have to do some research.
Hit you with the
She's
block.
a nice woman, but she did hit the big B button on me.
Yep, she did.
Hit you with the block.
I'm sure Britney Spears would like to block out this story, but she's still demanding a public apology. And we've talked about this story already. Obviously, it's the slap heard around the world. Britney Spears was slapped by Victor Wembanyama's security guard, even though if you look at the video, Britney kind of hits herself with her own hand. But that's besides the point. Britney did release a video. She posted on Tuesday night. It said, "I heard on the news this radio station talking smack and talking bleep. That's why I'm addressing it. They're saying that I deserve to be smacked. Security was doing their job and protecting their client." She went on to further talk about how she's been with the most famous people in the world and talked about security guards and how that all works. So there's other elements to this story, not just talking and calling out this radio station that was saying that she deserved it. Britney's also saying she demands a public apology still. How do we feel about this situation? Should Victor Wembanyama give a public apology for what transpired a week ago?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Victor Wembanyama had nothing to do with this. And again, that video looks like she hit herself in the face. It's tough. It's not a good look. Here's what you can admit, Miss Spears. You're embarrassed. You hit yourself in the face. It's embarrassed. Sometimes it happens. We embarrass ourselves. These things happen. You don't have to go crazy. Now, I do think that radio station, they're doing too much there. Saying that she deserves to be slapped. No, we're not here for that. That's too much. Like, and I don't think that's right at all. They owe her an apology. Does she? Look, Wembanyama's security team, they were trying to protect him. I get what happened. This is a whole misunderstanding. I think she needs to move on from this. This is what happened. It's going. But you know what? I think she's liking this right now. Jenny, you know this. We're writing about it. We're talking about it here. Britney Spears is back in the spotlight once again. She hasn't really been there for quite some time. And
Has a
so
memoir coming out.
yeah, she got yeah. So all these things, yeah. Thank you for the note. All these things matter in this. I see you, Brittany. I see the game that you're running here. It's okay, and I understand that. It's all part of the entertainment game. But does she deserve a public apology for what happened there? Like, it's unfortunate you didn't get your picture. Move on. I'm sure you and Big Vic will be in the same circles, and you'll get a picture at some time. It'll happen. I wouldn't worry that much about it. The radio station, they definitely need to apologize. They're doing too much there. Too much.
Oh, Dex, this is where I'm gonna have to just come for my Britney fans and tell them that I support them because do I
Uh-oh.
think do I think that Victor owes her a public apology? No, he had nothing to do with it. He's a 19-year-old kid. He's trying to wrap his head around what's going on here.
Right.
That's
Yes.
beside the point. Radio station, wrong. Yes. First of all, you don't ever condone hitting a woman, regardless of whether it was a ricochet off her own hand. No, not okay. What I will say is, like, kind of, I guess, sticking up for Brittany in a way, that video that she posted, that was the first time we heard her speak in a type of monologue in a minute. And, there's all the rumors and things of her, whatever headspace she may be in. That's none of our business. It's her mental health. But she sounded good. She sounded healthy. And she also did admit in that video that her own hand hit her and that he hit her. So she admitted it. She's not
Right.
trying to sit here saying like, that guy hit me, blah, blah, this and that. I think it's more of a public apology about how everything played out, maybe, because if you think
Okay.
about it, they were outside of Catch. Paparazzi wait outside of
Mm.
Catch. Was it Catch, I think, or
Yeah, it
wherever?
was. It
Yeah.
Vegas,
was Catch.
right?
Yeah.
Like, people camp out there waiting for this stuff to happen. Like, I think it's the fact of how it played out, I guess, maybe. I'm just trying to go out on a limb here, but she did admit that it was her own hand that hit her. So I don't think she's coming out with like lawsuits and, you hit me, you did this, you did that. But maybe, maybe the Spurs come out and say, this whole misunderstanding, we apologize. First of all, we don't condone anything happening to women. We're glad Miss Spears is okay, blah, blah, blah. She did say that they apologized to her at her table like 20 minutes later, she did
Yeah.
say. But I don't know about
Mm.
any of the other details. But what a dicey situation. Also, sticking to the basketball side of it, damn, Victor, like 19 years old, you got your first taste like 5 minutes in.
I
Yes.
Like,
know.
wow,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
wow.
And that's why he wants to step away from media. He wants to step away from it all. And I don't blame him. It's obviously been a whirlwind when you talk about the most hyped NBA prospect probably since LeBron to come into the draft. And then you go number one and the media coverage is already there. But then also the fact it was already there when the lottery ball was drawn and that
Yeah,
the Spurs were going to take you. So I can understand him wanting to take a step back, but I don't know if Victor deserves to, like, he doesn't have to give an apology here, in my opinion.
no,
It was his security team that obviously did what happened. It's him just he didn't even see what happened, if we're being honest here. So
right.
I get it. Brittany's like Dex said, she's back in the spotlight now, and this is, another thing that went out of hand here. I just don't know if a public apology is really needed from Wembanyama. Like, the kid just wants
Right.
to get away. He's not, like you said, 19 years old. He just wants to focus on playing basketball. First NBA pro season.
Out of all
Yep.
people, though, too, for it to be Brit, man.
Crazy. Crazy. That's crazy.
And I think even when Victor talked about it, he's like, "What was Britney Spears? I didn't know." Whoa. He's like, "I
Right.
can't believe that happened either." So, uh, let's talk about more about. Look, we'll talk more about it. I'm sure it's going to continue. But Megan Rapinoe is another story I wanted to get into, where she talked to the Times, and she had some comments about trans athletes and the violence that it can be threatened against them due to some comments from celebrities. And some of those celebrities she talked about was Dave Chappelle, when he makes jokes about trans people that can directly lead to violence, whether it's verbal or otherwise, against trans people. She also mentioned Sage Steele of ESPN. And the people, when they talk about trans athletes, aren't hearing just in the context of elite sports. They're saying, the rest of my life, this is how I'm going to treat trans people. Sam Ponder of ESPN, also the colleague of Sage Steele, backed Sage Steele, saying that this could be, this was completely taken out of context. This is an attempt to silence good faith discussion and debate. disagree passionately and says she's wrong, but to claim she is responsible for violence is absurd. Sage Steele obviously was backing up what Ponder said too. So this is a very controversial topic about trans athletes. Specifically, obviously, we're talking about, you know, I guess it's a little tough to say, but women's sports being integrated with trans athletes is a very controversial topic. So, to both of you, the whole situation of what Megan Rapinoe said, do we agree with what she's saying, that these comments from celebrities and sportscasters talking about trans athletes can lead to violence? Or do we think, Sage Steele is right in saying women sports has been suffering enough as it is, and we don't believe it's okay for trans athletes to be participating in women's sports? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. My response to all this is that sometimes I think this is definitely a controversial topic. This is definitely a hot button issue, and I'm going to try to be as understanding as I can to this. Firstly, I'm a cisgendered male, and I'd like to hear more about how cisgendered female athletes feel about this and trans athletes feel about this. We need to hear from those voices some more too. But I do think sometimes in these discussions, two things can be true. Like these things can happen. People can have good points, and there can be points on good side. Well, I'll say this: Megan Rapinoe makes a point about people speaking about transphobia and that existing and how that can be dangerous for people who are trans. Yes, that is absolutely true. And the language that's used about that. And we should be, as a society, trying to do a better job of being better to all of humanity, whether you're cisgender, transgender, doesn't matter. Um, I also understand on the other side for women, biological women, to be clear, cisgendered women, where they're looking at, hey, there's been a lot of struggle in sports for us. There's that, which is undoubtedly true. Like there's no denying that, and saying that, hey, they may not think that it's a biologically fair or a biological advantage. I understand that. That's rooted in science and fact, and I can understand why they have concerns for that. Um, I also sometimes think that when we're having this conversation, how large of a problem is it actually, right? Like, how many trans athletes are there out there, number one, and how many are trying to be in women's sports? I don't really know that. I'm just saying that, like, I'm just actually wondering this, pondering this out loud. How much of an issue is that? I do think Megan Rapinoe has concerns that are valid about the safety of trans athletes and trans people, not just athletes in the country, trans people. And it's fine to state that. But I also think the concerns about protecting women's sports are absolutely valid. And some people may hear my comments on this and say, "Oh, Dexter, you're playing it down the middle." No, they're valid concerns uh, on both sides. Like there's a segment that wants to protect women's sports, and there's a segment like Megan Rapinoe is looking at, like, what are we doing in terms of protecting humanity? Are we protecting trans people? We know this. There are tons of crimes against trans people in this country that are absolutely horrible, and more needs to be done to protect people as people, right? I don't care how you feel about that. Let's protect people as people. But I think also women in sports, and I think behooves me to speak on this. We need to hear women. I'd love to hear what Jenna has to say on this. Women in sports have also been trying to fight for equal access, equal opportunity for quite some time. And I
Right.
can understand what some women may say. This conversation that we're having could be another wrench in what we've been fighting for all along. And so I think there needs to be conversations about, from women, particularly, what's best for women's sports. And myself as a cisgender male, like, how can I be allies to support both cisgendered women and trans women in whatever that may be?
Yeah, I mean, wow. First of all, Dexter, I completely agree with everything you're saying. You put it very well. And let me preface before I get into anything that I I care about people trans people being treated as humans and having equal rights and fair rights, and violence against trans people is unacceptable. It is not right, it is not okay, and it should not continue. And do we need to hear more from trans athletes and other people and experts on this subject? Absolutely. And I'm sure I need to be more educated, as I'm sure a lot of other people do.
Yep,
So
me
that
too.
I will say first. Secondly, I think this is hard because what Megan Rapinoe is saying is valid. There are concerns about trans people and violence. And when you have people like comedian Dave Chappelle, who's a very prominent, big public figure saying these things, those words catch on to people, they influence people. That could cause violence. I get it. I get that. But then when you bring in stage seal into the conversation and ponder, and I don't agree with a lot of things that they say sometimes. But I do agree with their where the reasoning comes from in protecting women's sports. And women have fought for so long,
Yep.
including Megan Rapinoe, for equality in women's sports, whether that may be finances, healthcare, maternity care, anything. So I do think that that point is also valid where you said, could this put a wrench in the fight? What are we doing? I think people actually need to understand like not so much what lane we're in, but like what this really means. I think Ponder and Steele are speaking out because they're trying to protect women's sports, including I mentioned Charlie Arnold, who has great points on this too, because again, women have fought for this so much that what's happening here? So I definitely see both sides, and you make a good point too of people coming out and being like, "Oh, you're riding down the middle." Two things can be true, and in this case,
Yeah.
I believe that that is the case. I mean, all the work that women have done, you can't look past that and then be like, "Okay, well, we could do this though. This one thing we can allow to happen." And it's like, "Wait, we fought for so long. What's happening here?" So, it's nuanced. There are levels to this at so many levels. And we try to be sensitive, but it's good to have healthy discussion like this. And, saying things, the thing with Rapino, when she said that Steele's comments led directly to violence, I don't know so much about that this woman is causing violence, but these are I think people need to think before they speak a lot. And it's a very nuanced topic, I will say. But in the turn, I see both sides. I really, really do. I think that both sides have great points. Do I think it needs to be a full-fledged bloodbath in the media, going back and forth on social media? No. But, there's definitely a bigger conversation that needs to be had here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you
And
hit the nail on the head there. I really do. Sorry, Dex, go ahead.
no, I'm saying, yeah, like I said before, I want to hear from cisgender women who are professional athletes and also trans women. And
Right.
yes, not saying that Megan Rapinoe's opinion doesn't matter on this, or Sage Steele or Sam Ponder, anybody's opinion doesn't matter on this, or mine or yours doesn't. But I don't know what it's like to be a woman, cisgender. I don't know what it's like to be a trans woman. And I'm going to come from that. But I think it's fine for me to say that yes, we need to protect trans women. We can also protect cisgendered women playing sports. We can want to do both, and I think you should want to do both if you care about humanity and have discussions. But let's also hear from those people too that are directly impacted by it, and people who've studied this smarter than me. I've learned a lot about the trans community and then trans people over the last couple of years, and my knowledge continues to expand, as I hope it would for other people. But yeah, I think the finger pointing, and I wonder, one real quick, I wonder for Megan Rapinoe's comments, when I hear that, while she does bring up valid concerns about safety for trans people in this country, and there are
Mhm.
statistics on this you can see, I wonder how much of her comments were influenced by things that Sage Steele has said before that's been very controversial, that I know you and I, Jenna, don't have not agreed with, and how much of
Right.
that plays into. And sometimes we can have an emotional reaction based on what someone has done before, and that's not always necessarily fair. And I get it. I do get it. It's not always fair, but I wonder how much that's coming to play. Just something for people to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like you pointed out there, Megan Rapinoe might have cherry picked there a little bit with Sage Steele, specifically pointing her out as interesting why you'd want to, because of her background and history and what she said previously about other topics. Maybe that leads a little bit into this, and it's a very hot button topic. All I know is, who the hell am I to judge what sport you can play and can't play? I don't know how it feels,
Right.
if a trans person was all of a sudden playing in a sport that I was competing in. If I were in that situation, maybe I'd have stronger feelings of it, but I don't know. So I have to just have
Right.
empathy in this situation and listen and understand from both sides where they're coming from. Um,
Listening is the most important too.
Yes,
it's
In
we
something I
all of
harp
this on
on.
both.
Always gotta listen. You
we
gotta
gotta
listen.
listen. We gotta listen,
Well,
especially when we don't know. Yep.
exactly. And you gotta listen also when you're on a Zoom call and you decide to say some stuff that you probably shouldn't said also, because that's our last topic here, guys. And we're gonna talk about the Philadelphia Flyers and they were introducing their new forward, Garnett Hathaway. And then during this Zoom presser interview with all the reporters, Garnett Hathaway was getting asked a question about what makes the Philadelphia Flyers such a destination to sign a 2-year contract, even though they're going through sort of a rebuild. And one of the social media members decided to blurt out, "How many times are you going to ask this bleeping question?" Now, he said, "How many times is she going to ask this bleeping question?" Meaning the female reporter that was asking the question to Garnett Hathaway. And then there was another social media member that was also saying that the Philadelphia Flyers are not a destination. This place sucks. So, guys, let's talk about this. We're in the 21st century now. We've been working on over Zoom for since COVID happened in 2020, pretty much. Zoom blew up and became a thing. I still can't believe we're dealing with hot mic issues on Zooms and you're blurting out things like that about reporters.
Jenna, go take Jenna, take this. You take this first, please. Please.
Being a reporter, it pisses me off so bad because we've all dealt with, and I mean no shade to any of my friends on the PR side, my roommates on the PR side. We work with these people. So I've met the nicest of them and the worst of them. So we have to work very closely together. This whole machine doesn't tick unless me, the reporter's here asking your guy XYZ and making news on it. So then you want to go and talk shit about the people. Sorry, excuse my language.
You're all good. Don't worry.
About the people that are on the, it kills me. And don't get me wrong. We all say stuff in the background and to our friends and whatever else, but you just made a good point. We're in the era of technology. We've lived through the pandemic. This is how we live our lives now. No matter what, expect there's always a hot mic. Expect there's a hot mic anywhere besides the one that we're on right now. Like, how dumb. And not to mention, it's not like we're the Pee Wee Football League in South Dakota. No offense. I'm sure it's a very nice place there. But like, this is the Philadelphia Flyers. Like, the fact that word's going to get around whoever it was that said it, like, just what a dumb move and very disrespectful, especially, and I'm saying that as a reporter, because we bust our asses to cover your teams and you're introducing a new player. What a culture for you to be welcomed into, my friend. Like, what?
Yeah, shout out to the player who kept it moving despite hearing that, right? Like he still was
Right.
able to do this. Now, here's what I want to know, and Jenna, as a fellow reporter, if I had heard somebody say that about me, that they were annoyed that I was asking this question over and over and doing my job, man, I couldn't wait till the next time I saw them because I'm going to be all the way petty. Every
I
question
want
I
to
ask,
sit down. I want everything. I want your whole starting lineup, candid interview. It's like,
yeah,
what?
the Flyers need to take care of this reporter in the best way. The person who did this, honestly, if I'm being blunt, I'm not somebody who calls for people to be fired. That's not generally my
Right.
get down or how I go. But that person should at least be suspended or something. Some action should be taken because what they did was unprofessional. Let's just call it what it is. It's totally unprofessional. It's not a good look for the Flyers and their social media team. It isn't at all. Now, if that reporter knows who did it, when she sees this guy, I would next time she's at a press conference, I'd look at him and be like, "Yeah, I'm asking this question again because so and so over here doesn't like it." I would make
Nah,
him feel bad
I'd
all
be
the
even more
time.
I'd
next
be
level
petty.
petty. I'd be next
Yeah.
Oh, give
level
me the
petty.
petty.
You want to
Give
know
me
what
the
I
petty,
would do?
Ryan. Go
You know what
ahead.
I would
Yeah.
do if I were that reporter? I would look at the social media person and go, "Is it okay if I ask this question?"
Is this
Yes.
good?
And
Yes.
that is this
Are you
okay?
good? Is this okay? Since
Really
you're
quick,
the
is this approved by XYZ, the social media, whoever it was, the assistant? I don't
yeah.
know who
And I
was.
wouldn't act like I would act like I didn't know his name. Like even if I knew his name, I'd just be like, by this guy who has all the power over the questioning, is this question approved for me to ask? He would feel
Yeah.
it every question I asked. He would feel it. That would be the
Also,
best punishment for him.
first of all, let me just say you shouldn't do this to any reporter, no matter what level. However, do we know the outlet that this person was at? Because that depends in this
No,
business.
they didn't want to
The
reveal that.
tiers.
They didn't want to reveal it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm feeling that will come out in time because I feel like
Wonder
that
who it
outlet
was.
they need to be petty as well too. Like Ryan's level of petty, I thought my level of petty was high. Ryan's level of petty was higher, and I'm here for it. Like I am absolutely here for it. No, you
Yeah,
know why? Because
it's the
if
total
you,
disrespect. It's a completely
yeah,
disrespectful thing to say. Like, I get it. We've all had moments on see, here's my take on this. We've all had Zoom meetings and Zoom calls where they're the most pointless, worthless, waste of my time. I can't believe I just spent that much time on a Zoom call. Save it till after the Zoom is over and then blurt it all out. When the camera's off and the mic's off and you're logged off, that's when you blurt it out. Don't do it though when the camera's still on. Like, even if the camera's off and the mic is muted, still don't say it, because you have no idea if that thing could come on at any moment. And that's what that's what I don't think this person understood. And they should have known better, especially when you're working in social media and media in general. You should know how this all works. Always assume the camera's on and the mic is on if you're around that situation. Always.
And the point you're making is your point you're making is great, Ryan, because by him making that comment in that moment that he had to make, what did you have to gain by that, sir? What was going to happen? But
like Jenna said, welcome to the toxic destination that is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team. Like,
welcome to the bleep show. The bleep show, or as Jenna said, the shit show.
Like, what? Like, it just, you know what? At the end of the day, petty or not, bottom line, it was irresponsible.
Absolutely.
You can't do your job on a Zoom call. And it's not like we're on a team Zoom or like, it's a certain interview. You're introducing a new player. Not to mention what you said, Dex, way to carry yourself professionally and answer the question. Yeah. After hearing all this chaos, like
he handled it very professionally. He
right.
Because but in his head, he was thinking like, man, this is a shit show. Because that's what I would have thought in my head. If that happened, and no offense. So listen, I'm saying this with all love. We have great social media people that work at a lot of teams. I've worked around, they've done it. This should be a note to all of you guys. I know some not so good. All you social media folks out there doing stuff for teams, you don't got to be the center of attention. You don't got to say that. Do what Ryan said. You could have waited. If you didn't like this reporter, you could have said something. We've all been around other reporters we don't like. You wait till after the Zoom call to say it, or say it among the people we need to entrust. Now this has happened everywhere, and it's just be professional.
When I first came into this business, I can't remember who said it to me. Someone said, just remember, you might be the reporter, you might be the cameraman, whatever. It's not about you. Just so you remember that one. And that has stuck with me forever. And you just reminded me of it.
Not about
great point.
That is correct.
That's all I got for us today, guys. Dex, I think Brandon lost his job. I think Jenna is gonna stay with us permanently.
Oh, I was like, what's happening? Where's Brandon?
Listen, I see now that put me in a bad spot, because if I say I don't feel bad that Brandon comes back, that makes me look bad. But Jenna is my good friend, so I'm always happy to do as many videos with Jenna as possible. But Brandon, we love you too. But yes. I'm always happy to do with Jenna. Just known Jenna longer, that's the homie. So it is what it is.
We go way back. But thanks for having me, guys. I love this. You guys are amazing. Ryan, I think you're the super producer extraordinaire.
He is.
I have good people working with me. That's all that matters. And I appreciate you both sharing some time and being able to talk about all this.
I appreciate you guys. Great job, Jenna. Great job.
Thank you. You too.
This was a professional show. That's what I like. Professional. No hot mics. Good stuff.
No hot mics.